what am I playing against? I don't have a strategy in mind because I've never tested against his deck, and I'm just playing blindly. I'm just trying to figure out a strategy on the fly, so he's not going to play perfectly.
Yep. Now, I believe that either Sammy was showing the camera his cards, or Sammy was showing his opponent, how many cards he had in his hand.
Yep.
But either way, we got a decent look at him, and looks like it was a handful of trainers.
Yeah, that'll happen when you're facing Vileplume. He also did Sonic Boom the Zekrom, which will bring it to 110 damage, I believe. But it'll just get moved off if Ross has any way to get more basics onto the field.
Yeah, here Ross is going to be looking for a Chansey pretty soon because he doesn't have any attackers, so he might. Oh, there he goes. He knocks out his Solosis,
Yep.
and he plays the Twins.
It's also
a
route you can go. Puts himself behind by knocking out his own Solosis and then plays the Twins.
Yep. So now here he's going to be finding, I'm going to assume, a Chansey. He really does want to have a way to be able to get rid of the damage on his field. And maybe a second Zekrom, maybe a Phanpy to be able to start to threaten the Magnezone KO. I'm not exactly sure what route he's going to take, but I'm definitely positive he's going to be taking some additional attackers.
At this point, you probably start building up a Phanpy, just because you need a way to knock out Magnezone when it comes out. You can knock it out with Zekrom using Outrage, but you have to put 120 damage on him, which lets Sammy take a prize. So he should probably start thinking about going for a Donphan. And yeah, that's Chansey. But there he goes, Zekrom and Phanpy.
Yep. So now we're seeing a double colorless being attached to this second Zekrom, and that Phanpy comes down, so he's threatening a Donphan if his opponent responds with a Magnezone. Obviously, it wouldn't knock out the Magnezone, but it wouldn't leave him very healthy either.
Another interesting thing is that I know Ross is probably aware of this. He can't put too much damage on the Vileplume or the Reuniclus. If he puts 50 on the Reuniclus, it can be knocked out with a linear attack. If he puts 80 on the Vileplume, it's a linear attack. So he's got to be careful where he puts the damage, but I'm sure he's played the deck enough.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, but he's also got to be aware of the Jirachi. So now if he has, at any point, 60 damage on the Duosion?
It's the same thing, though.
No, it's 60 damage on... I guess so. Yep, never mind, you're right. 80 HP Gloom. I'm going to shut my mouth.
I thought about that beforehand, don't worry.
Alright, so we only see 2 Yanmas on the board for Sammy, so now he's...
Yep,
obviously, he's got the Yan Mega from the Rescue Energy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's definitely low on Yan Mega counts. Yeah, this might be his last one unless he has access to the last one in his deck.
He's also low on Magnezone counts. We haven't seen one this entire game, and that's got to be frustrating for Sammy. I mean, there were certain points in this game where if he just sent out a Magnezone and attacked, he probably would have steamrolled Ross's board, but what?
Yeah.
3 prizes each, and we still haven't seen one.
I mean, obviously Sammy's an amazing player and everything, but really this is all because of that Tyrogue attack. That Tyrogue attack really caused this entire situation to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The Vileplume came into play because of that Twins, and so did the Reuniclus.
Yeah, I guess so. One little thing can change the whole game, huh?
Yeah. Now, at this point, if you're Sammy, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, hey, look, I know I can't knock things out with Yan Mega, but I still got to put as much damage on the field as possible, so I'm just going to start Sonic Booming? Or do you just think, oh man, I really got to find the Magnezone?
I'm thinking eek, because I need a Magnezone. Attacking with Yan Mega at this point does absolutely nothing. It just fuels Ross's outrage, actually, and you don't need that to happen. You need a Magnezone. You need to knock things out in one hit. So we should be seeing an eek, but I don't know.
Yep. So I actually agree with you here. I do think that the Yan Mega is only going to cause you more problems than it already does. And you just need to find a way that you've taken 3 prizes with Yan Mega, which is great, but you need to find a way to, first of all, get energies into play consistently, and second of all, get the Magnezone into play so you can actually knock something out with it.
I think at this point in the game, Sammy's really realizing the power of Ross's deck. At first, he's probably thinking, Ross just threw something stupid together, and here he is. And now he's saying, wait, my Yan Megas are useless? There's a Zekrom I can't even knock out. There's a Vileplume I can't play trainers. What happened?
Yeah, man, the deck's the real deal. It's scary to think that a deck full of cards that really don't see any play is so good, but it really is.
Most of these cards did see play, it's just not in this combination. It took a player like Ross to realize that, hey, they work together.
Now, in the meantime, he definitely sacrificed that Yanmega. I believe he did the damage to the active Zekrom. And now he actually has twins of his own. So he gets to actually play the twins just because his opponent fell so far, or he fell so far behind his opponent.
Yeah, I mean, this is a spot. Maybe it's not that unusual, because once Ross's deck gets fully set up, he does start steamrolling you, and he doesn't give up a prize because you can't knock his things out in one hit without access to trainers. There's no reversals, no plus powers. So it's not too surprising that Sammy's actually losing now, but can he muster up enough strength to win the game here?
How can he muster up enough strength? What do you think he's got to do?
The only way it'd be possible is if he played 2 Magnetons, or if he had another Rescue Energy somewhere. I mean, he's got to take knockouts with Magnezones. That's his only way. And I don't know how Ross could respond to 2 Magnezones in this situation.
Well, Sami does need to get rid of quite a few energies to knock out the Donphan, so I don't think 2 Magnezones would do it right now. Unless he's got a Pachirisu or...
he does play Jirachi, so it's possible. I'm not too sure.
Because the way I'm counting it, he needs to discard 4 energies to be able to knock out the Donphan. He needs to get rid of 2 energies for the Zekrom. That's 6 energies right there. Then he needs one last prize, so that's another, say, 2 energies. That's 8 energies he's got to have on the field. 3 more to go. His deck only runs, I believe, 10 or 11, so it's not an easy task, and the rescue energy's gone.
Yeah, I don't know what Sami can do. It's tough.
Yeah. Now, obviously, to an amateur audience, or an audience that really doesn't play this game competitively enough to understand the intricacies of Ross's deck, they might just be thinking, well, he's just got a bunch of Pokemon and a bunch of damage on the field. He's got to be able to knock out something eventually, right? Well, I mean, yeah, realistically, he can knock out something. His opponent Ross just actually has to have the stone nothing in his hand. If he has access to a Blissey, or even a Seeker, and just Seekers up, say, a Zekrom with 12 damage on it, that's an entire turn or two's worth of damage. I mean, we're seeing Sami isn't in an unwinnable situation, but it's as close as possible to that. It's a really bad spot, man. But we do see a Magnezone, so there is hope.
Hey, we got one. He does play Magnezone. I was beginning to think it was just Magneton.
Well, Magneton's a pretty strong attacker and all of it. Why wouldn't you want to play Magnezone?
Yeah, I mean, it's got that cool attack, tri-attack, could do up to 60 damage. It's pretty good, but Magnezone might be a little bit better.
So he's removing an energy from his bench Magnemite, which we obviously know can not attack, so that's not the worst idea in the world. And I'm just going to assume he's going to remove an energy from the active as well.
Hey, one of Sammy's outs could be to paralyze Ross over and over until he decks out.
Yeah, I mean, it actually is one of his outs. Believe it or not. Yeah, I think he tried to discard the energies, but he forgot that it had to be removed from the game of the Lost Zone.
He just put the Lost Zone somewhere else. The judge wants them to be in the official spot, so he pointed them over there.
Well, that's good to know. Now, Sami is down to 2 prizes. They're tied at 2 prizes apiece. And even though he's not in the greatest of shapes, he's not in the worst either. And now, Ross activated the Zekrom, so I'm going to assume he's got either 12 damage on the field, or he has no fighting energies in hand.
I'm not too sure what the answer is to that, but he can Outrage for 20 as well, that would work, or even just 40. Then the next turn he can Earthquake. So unless Sami has access, see if he had access to another Magnezone, he would win this game. But looks like the way he removed the energy from the Magnemite made me think he doesn't have anything else, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, when you remove the energy from the Magnemite, you really do just admit that you don't have a way to get a second Magnezone into play, which is honestly pretty sad, because if that rescue energy were still in play, first of all, it'd be on the active Magnezone. But second of all, he'd have an extra energy to be able to remove from the game if he really needed to, which obviously at one point he would. Or he'd be able to get the Magnezone back and just steamroll his opponent. Now, he did get outraged, which means that, to me, it means that his opponent didn't have the access to the fighting energy. He might have been slow rolling the fighting energy, which means that he just didn't want to sacrifice his Donphan because his opponent could knock it out in one hit. But I don't believe that's the case, because if I was Ross, I'd just want to get rid of as many energies as possible from the field in case my opponent did have access to that second Magnezone.
Yeah, Ross might be looking at it as he can just outrage for, I think he did 40, and the next turn he'll be able to Earthquake. And really, Sami has no answer. There's no way he'll be able to knock out that Donphan in one hit. So for the rest of the game, Ross will just be free to move damage to his bench, keep Earthquaking, and eventually he'll knock something out.
Yeah, as long as Sami doesn't have access to a second Magnezone.
Mm-hmm.
If Sami does have access to that second Magnezone, then that Donphan will fall.
Now, even if Sami does have another Magneton, there's no way that we could know that he can draw into it. Look at how big his deck is. He doesn't have access to trainers, so it might just be a matter of not drawing a Magneton. That could also be a factor, so who knows?
Yep. So now here we're definitely going to see Sami go down to one prize. He's going to be removing both of the energies from his active Magnezone, I believe. Yeah, I would believe that that's what he would do. And he's going to be trying to get that last prize, but he's only going to have access to a Yanmega.
If I'm Sami and it depends on whether or not he has a Magneton left. If he doesn't, then he can just remove him off the Magnemite, because then either you're going to win with Magnezone or you're going to lose the game. So might as well do that.
I don't know. I would, well, there's that twin, so his opponent's definitely going to have the fighting energy. But
yeah,
I would probably just remove him from the active Magnezone just in order to have that Thunder Shock out.
Well, even if you Thunder Shock, you're hitting Donphan for a big -20. So, and just looking at how big both of their decks are, there's no way you're going to deck them out. So, I would take the slim chance